Oh, I am so glad you came. Thanks for joining. So, just in case you didn't know a little bit about me, I'm a contributor on the Philip Scott Show. So
Oh,
I do a few videos and post some of my content there. I saw a video or an interview that you had with him, and I actually had a question because it's two things that you said. One, you said I'm a little different than how most women, think. But I kind of saw where a lot of women were feeling you. They understood where you were coming from in a lot of situations, not in just that one instance, but in general, how you view things, your perspective on things. And a lot of people seem to agree with how you were responding to some of the questions that we're asking.
right.
But,
And
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And the reason why I say that I might think a little bit differently is because anytime I do pass my views, a lot of men make it seem like women don't think like me. Like they make it seem like the way that I think is irrational, like kind of like how they have that idea of us being problematic, or we cause a lot of conflicts. We like to argue, or we don't want to submit. We don't want to conform to like the relationship. So most of the time I have to make it clear that I'm not going to be that submissive traditional woman that men are seeking. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just make sure that I let everybody know, like, I may not think like every other woman, and that's okay. And I'm comfortable with that. And I know that, so I just put the little disclaimer out there because a lot of people try to attack me for the way that I think.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you clearing that up. I talk about this on my channel about the hindsight 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And you were speaking about your situation with the ex that you had. And
Mm-hmm.
you said that, he was a good guy for what, a year and a half. And then all of a sudden something happened. So I kind of wanted to go back to that because I honestly, I preach a lot about men aren't that great of an actor. Because you said that before he started to be aggressive, in the physical, there was some verbal. At what
Mm-hmm.
point in that relationship, how long was the entire relationship from beginning to physically leaving the relationship?
Me speaking to him, it was about like us dating was about a year. And then us actually being together was about maybe 2.5 years.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
from the time so you're saying from the whole romantic part was 2.5 years.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. Two.
In that particular relationship, at any point was he verbally mistreating you in that year and a half that you said everything was great? Was there any type of verbal mistreatment? Any red flags?
There were some, but I also came with some too. So I would say we would get into our arguments, and that's when I was doing a lot of like my shadow work and learning about why I was being triggered the way that I was. But it didn't really get too out of hand until like literally the last, I just think he became really insecure. So it was like, it was cool. I saw little signs, but it wasn't nothing that I felt like was abnormal. I understand that people get attitudes. I understand that people might say things out of anger, or, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like what I chucked it up to be, is like, this is what normal people do. They fight, they argue, they say things they don't mean. Then they make up and things go back to being cool. So.
Okay. Okay, because it makes more sense now. So to you, it wasn't abnormal, but the signs were there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess I was like, man, how can someone be perfect and there's no error, no issues, and then bam, something happens.
So in the beginning, it was really smooth, but it was because I didn't really press him too much about like spending time, being together. It was like I was working, he was working. When we would spend time when we had time, you know what I'm saying? It was like that. I wasn't really pressing. His behavior started to change when things were being brought to my attention. And so let's say if somebody sent me something of a girl who he was dealing with at the same time, but I didn't know that that's what it was. So when he figured that I was about to catch him up, he started to shift. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was like the only time we would really fight or argue was if I found something out and I was questioning him about it. The first time that I really ever had like a really bad red flag with him, it was, I was driving one of his cars to the store. I would always take his, he had 2 cars. I would always take his car that he never drove. I would always take it to the grocery store and, you know, just do like little errands and stuff in it. And I specifically remember looking in the glove compartment because I was looking for a pin. I looked in the glove compartment. I found an old condom wrapper. It was old as hell. It was all crumbled up, but it still had the condom in it. So it was dry as hell. And I was like, this old ass condom. I threw it back in there and I was looking through the stuff and I didn't find anything. There were no more condoms. There wasn't a box of condoms. There wasn't anything in that glove compartment. Then when I came back about 2 days later, I remember that he took that car because it had gas in it and he didn't feel like putting gas in his other car. So when I got in the car after he used it, I found condoms in that, new condoms, ones that weren't there 2 days ago when I looked, you know, and I sent him a picture of the condoms and I said, hurry up and come back to your house because honestly, I know that these were not here. And if we're going to be stepping out and doing that, then I don't want to be a part of it. And so I was waiting for him to come home because I didn't have the keys to his house to lock his house up, but I would have left, you know? And he came back, he was drunk and he was very, very, very aggressive. Like he didn't put his hands on me that night, but I was very fearful that he would. And because he was drunk as hell and he was just mad at the fact that I even questioned why he had condoms in his car. But now I know, you know what I'm saying? I'm not stupid, but because he was so upset, it was kind of like a say anything like, okay, if you say that you didn't do that, then whatever, it is what it is. But after I noticed that he was doing something, it was like his behavior after that one incident just became like, it was just evil. Like, because he knew that he was either about to get left or he was like on the verge of getting caught. And yeah, so that's when his behavior just started to change.
So why not leave then?
I think it was more of a, you know how people be telling us that we don't never want to like support a man while he's at his lowest, or you know what I'm saying? Like at this time, at this moment in time, he had lost both of his grandparents to COVID. Money was weird. It wasn't completely cut off. He had money. It just wasn't guaranteed as well as it was a couple months prior because COVID was shutting everything down. And I didn't want to leave him because I didn't want people to think that I left him because he lost everything, or that he was losing everything, or that he didn't have money, or he didn't have this. I didn't want to be that person. I really didn't want to leave him. I didn't. We had way more at that time. We had way more good times than that one incident or the 3 arguments or 4 arguments that we had. Like we had way more good stuff at the time. So it was a lot of stuff like, okay, so do you want to leave him? Because at the time he wasn't putting his hands on me yet. So it was like, okay, leave because we had a slight disagreement. Then when he wasn't drunk anymore, he apologized for his behavior. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he was just drunk. Like, you know, but this is like my really my first time dealing with a situation like that, where
right.
It was, and it went really fast. Like it wasn't something that took a while for him to go from that argument right there. I think he put his hands on me probably like maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks after that. So it went really fast. Like 1 minute we didn't have any problems, and then the next it was a million problems.
Okay. So now I did I talk about Crossroads. And for me, Crossroads are when you get to a point in a relationship that there's a deal breaker in a relationship, something you don't like, whatever it is, big or small, that you just address it with the person. And you say, this is bothering me. can you stop doing this? Or this is bothering me. Can you start doing this? Whatever the situation is. Have you had that kind of conversation? So then he'd know if you did leave, it would be because of that particular conversation. That at any point in your relationship, have you had any type of crossroad?
I explained to him the one thing that would make me leave, and it was to find out that he had another woman. That was my, okay, if I really find out you got another woman, like you're really out here, like you have another girlfriend, or at the time, that is what I was saying, that was the limitation. We had a discussion like that, but I never thought that all the other problems that we face, like I didn't even see those being a thing. Cheating has always been a situation in my relationships. I even felt like we could get past cheating. Even after I said that, I felt like we could get past cheating. But the thing we couldn't get past was more of the physical. Like,
okay.
Because, yeah. But
so
yeah, we had a conversation.
That relationship was a while ago, but it was one thing that you said that I think Phil asked about, do you want to be married? And you said, I can see myself in the future being a wife. Do you remember saying something similar to that? Mm-hmm. Do you still feel that way? Do you feel like, you know, one day you want to be a wife? What's your, if you don't mind me asking, what's your ideal husband, or what's the ideal marriage? What does that look like to you and your ideal husband?
My ideal marriage would just be two people doing what they love with who they love. I understand the sexual nature of our kind, like even just knowing myself. Like I said, I don't think cheating is really I know that I could be faithful 100% if I wanted to be. And I feel like because I can do that, I feel like other people should be able to do that too. I don't expect them to be that way completely 100%, but we at least need to be open and communicate about what we want, you know? So I think my ideal relationship would just be an open and with someone that I can communicate with, and someone I can talk to, someone I can confide in, someone that is going to choose me first or choose our marriage first over whatever they choose to do out there. Just always make sure that what you have here with me is good, stable, and secure before you decide to go do whatever it is that you're doing. My ideal husband, I would like a fine husband, girl, but I would just want him to be open, be honest, communicate, aware of his health. Like I want him to be nice and fit, because I'm gonna be nice and fit, and our family's gonna be, you know, healthy and all that stuff, because that's how you live a long life, a long, healthy life. And yeah, I mean, I just want somebody to just be open and love on me. I could love on him too, you know?
Okay. So this ideal, you know, marriage, this ideal relationship, what happens if, and I'm pretty sure you've had this question often, but let's say this ideal husband, he is meeting all of the things that you just said. Mm-hmm. What if he wants, kind of like what you said with your previous boyfriend, what if he wants you to not do Granny2Thick anymore? How would that play into it? Because I know at first you mentioned he did it for money.
If I had Granny while, like, when he met me and he knows about her, I don't expect you to try to change anything that I have going on. Like, honestly, if you really support me and you support what I do and who I am, you don't want to get with anybody you want to change. And to me, if you come in thinking that I'm going to stop something just because you came into my life, you came in with the wrong mindset.
Okay.
If you need to be able to.
This is something you want to keep doing. This is.
If that's what I decide to do, if I decide to drop Granny just because of me, it's a different story. But if you're telling me that this is a thin line, like this is, I'm not going to stay with you if you decide to continue this, then I'm not the woman for you. If I decide to make the change, I make the change, but not just because you don't like it. Don't try to change the people you plan on being with for the rest of your life.
Okay. And I ask because I'm pretty sure you get that question often, like, hey, you know, what if the person you want to be with wants to be with you and not have, you know, anyone else have access to you. I mean, internet is there. Internet stays. It's probably not going to go away. But, you know, I think it's similar to the situation of Phil was asking about, what about someone's past? Well, this is the present now. So what if someone just wants that change? But you're saying, however you are now, it is what it is. And whoever comes into your life just needs to, you know, incorporate all the things that you do have.
Exactly. Because I'm not going to try to change you. If I feel like there's something that you're doing that I do not agree with and I can't live with it, I'm not going to say, you need to change this if you want me to stay in your life. I'm going to be like, look, I see that we have some differences and I don't want you to change. I want you to be who you want to be, but maybe this is not right for us. Maybe we were meant to be friends. And I'm okay with that.
No, I do. Do you have any children?
Mm-mm.
Okay. If you do have children, do you feel like this is something if you do have children, if you happen to have children in the future, does this change what you do? Does this change anything?
No.
Okay. I'm asking because a lot of people, different things have different perspectives.
I don't feel like anything I do endangers anyone. I don't think that, I mean, more than anything, I feel like it'll be like a door to open for other people. I think that I'm one of those people that just believe in, you know, do what you want to do, be yourself, and who supports you, and who doesn't. My kids, they're not going to be judgmental kids. They're not going to be the ones saying, oh, you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you shouldn't be doing this. Like, no, they're going to be just as free to do and choose what they want. And they're going to have to learn and accept who their mom is and who she was, because they're going to have to battle that. If somebody got something negative to say about my kids, about their mom to my kids, at least they know, and it's not something that they're just finding out. They're going to know who I am. They're going to know what I do. They're going to know how I do it. So once they're old enough to understand, but I don't feel like it endangers them at all. Your kids are exposed to what you expose them to, that too. So, just monitor what your kids are watching and who they're around. And if you don't want them around certain people with certain opinions, keep them away from them.
Okay. I asked because I don't know if you remember, there was a video about a woman who, I think her son was maybe a teenager or middle school or something. And he didn't know that she had an OnlyFans. Mm-hmm. And the other kids in his school was saying, is this your mom? And that's how he found out about it. And I'm asking because a lot of times people don't consider
their children.
Their children and how their children could see it, how their family could see it, especially because a lot of people don't let everyone know. They're not as open and free as you letting everyone know this is how I am. A lot of times people do keep it a secret because it's something they want to do. But I thought I remember you saying that OnlyFans was something that you got into because the boyfriend you had was costing you money. So this was a way to get money. But then now after you've gotten money, this isn't a money thing anymore. It's because you like doing it. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's like, it's something that, because the money is so good, it's like, why not get the extra money? People have different, when they look back in their previous relationships, they can see where did I do wrong? Where can I have changed? Do you have that moment where it's like, there's some things I need to change about me. There's some things I could do better. There's people I don't need to have in my life anymore. Friends I probably don't need to have in my life. Yeah. I'm going in a different direction. Do you see yourself seeing that, having that mindset? Yeah, that was me all last year. I cut a lot of people off. I cut a lot of friends, cut my ex off. I cut my dad off. I cut a lot of people off because I did have that. I realized and saw what real love and support was, and the ones who were not showing me that, I kind of just let them go. And when you say, like, do I see myself as like, there are things that I need to change. I know that there are some things that I may need to change, but for some, I don't know why I think, and it's going to sound so crazy, but I think that every person should view themselves as perfect. And if you want to change, it's something that you want to change. I don't see much in myself. The only thing that I would probably change about myself is I don't want to be such a loner, but it's kind of required right now. That is the only thing I would change about myself, is how much time I spend by myself.
It's something you said. You said that you think people should first see themselves as perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I, you know, I feel like a lot of people in society already see themselves as perfect. They think that it's like this level of entitlement, men and women. Like they think that you know, they're all that, and they're not really all that.
Sometimes when people do that, that's how you see their biggest insecurity. But a lot of people, they be insecure. My ex, he was the loudest motherfucker in the room, and he had the biggest insecurities. Girl, I'm talking crazy insecurity.
What do you say about people who think that being in that relationship, you were in it, but at the time you may have been insecure as well?
Mm-hmm. I feel like I came into that relationship very secure, but listening to everything that he started telling me, because he was building me up, believe it or not. Like, he loved my music. He loved my artistry. He loved everything that I was doing, my business and everything. But the moment he switched up on me, you could tell he no longer liked me. Like, he started telling me things. Like, I remember one of our last fights, and he was literally just screaming in my face everything that he hated about me. And I remember just looking at him like, okay, well, are you done now? Because everything that he had said a million times before, you know. And I remember thinking, if he doesn't love me, I'll probably find no one else to love me. But then when I stopped only focusing on him, I actually realized a lot of people still really, like, people were waiting for us to break up. They were waiting. They were like, damn, I can't wait till y'all break up because I'm ready to date you. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when I actually noticed, I was like, damn, I was like, well, if you don't like me, I'm about to start talking and dealing with people who do like me. And that's where it became a problem, because I remember when I just kept catching them cheating, I was like, well, here, how about this? If you're out there still dating, I'm going to date too. And I said, because there's a lot of guys who are interested in me and I love this shit. So I'm going to show them some attention. And he didn't like that. I did not realize how narcissistic he was. He does the same thing to everyone. Like, I've talked to his new girls and all of that stuff, like I said before. And he knows what he has to do to be a great man. He knows how to put on that Prince Charming look and vibe. He knows how to hold you. He knows how to kiss you. He knows what to do to make you fall in love with him. He knows what he has to do to get you to that point to where you won't walk away when he shows you his true self. You know what I'm saying? And it's a skill. I don't think that he was perfect and then he switched. I just think that he was no longer able to, like, he was being exposed for who he really was. And once the idea, because in my head, it was never there that he could be that type of person. But when people are bringing forth to me who he is or what he could possibly do, now he's afraid that I'm going to find out. And now he can't even control what he's showing me, because he's trying to control how I view him and stuff like that. But he did a really good job making me fall in love with him. Really good job. It was just when he felt like he didn't have to act anymore, he stopped acting.
So you're saying now, if you do date in the future, you can see through all the mess now?
Yeah. And I will say this, because this dude who was trying to date me right when we broke up, I let him take me on 2 dates. And I sensed something about him. I saw his mannerisms with everybody else, but he was very sweet and polite to me. But his attitude towards everyone else was very negative, and I was like, if you think I'm going to sit here and look at you like you talk to those people about how they brought you your tacos, like this is how you talk about people who fucked up on your tacos, like, I can already see how you're going to be towards me. And then I talked to a girl who I didn't even know she was dating him for 2.5 years. And she opened up and told me how he's been treating her. And I told her, I said, for some reason, when he took me out on those dates, I already knew that was a part of him. And that's why I never called him back after the dates, because I knew, it's like, and I was just telling my friend today that I was like, we go through what we go through so that we can learn the lessons we need to learn. Because before my relationship with the guy I was just with, I wouldn't have been able to tell that guy was just, that he wasn't a good person in general, because he was being very sweet to me, but I paid attention to everything else. And then you also have to pay attention to what people aren't telling you, So I learned a little bit on that. I could tell now. I feel I'm confident in that. At first I was a little scared, but now I feel a little confident in it. Not
that's good.
Come in and love bomb me. So I know what love bombing is now. So yeah.
Yes, that's good. I'm glad that you see what love bombing is, see all those things, because a lot of people, they don't. Mm-hmm. They're like, I never saw it coming, but it was coming. It's just the person love bombed you, and I hear this term a lot where people are narcissists and stuff, and people was playing, and some people they get good at the game. Mm-hmm. So, all right, well. Good luck to you. I do hope that you do become a wife one day, if that's what you still want. I hope that for you. I hope you all the best. And of course, and with your condition as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for having me on. You're such a delight.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
No problem.
All right. Take care now.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right. Okay. So thank you all for joining over here on Facebook and YouTube and YouTube on Instagram. So I appreciate you all taking the time to join. If you don't know about my content, you are able to go to mrsdatingoutdavita.com. I am a relationship and femininity coach. And I'm also a contributor on the Philip Scott Show, which is where I saw Tyler's interview, which is why she was on today. But today I wanted to finish off talking about what I was saying, and then I'm going to go ahead and end the live. So I was talking about positivity today and being more upbeat, not being negative, because that does change our emotions, our perspectives, and how we see the world. So the goal is for everyone, both men and women, to see the world not through one lenses, not through hurt and pain, not through insecurities, like what we kind of talked about today, a lack of confidence, not through those things, but to see things through a positive light. So I do hope that before you leave, that you are able to go out and see the world through reality, but be more optimistic about how you see and view the world. Because then, if not, we're going to have these issues with men hating women, women hating men, and no one's going to get to know each other. So I do like dialogues where men and women are conversing, so we can see that we just view things differently. But it doesn't mean that we cannot be in a happy and cohesive relationship just because we see the world differently, just because we process things differently. Women use their emotions more. Men are more logical. Not to say women do not have logic. We just process things differently. So nothing wrong with that. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I do lives every Tuesday, Thursday around 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Take care.